In Europe, at the center of Italy, in Venice, there's the biggest square, St. Mark's Square. Hello and welcome to AWZ. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon. Let's travel to Venice and feel the beauty of St. Mark's Square. St. Mark's Square is Venice's largest square and one of its greatest open spaces, in contrast to the city's twisting alleys and lanes. The area stands near the terminus of the Grand Canal, and the seaside promenade leads east. Front of the square are water bus stops, water taxi jetties, and gondola rides. There are expensive coffee shops with people watching. North of the square are tiny lanes packed of shops leading to the Rialto Bridge, or walk west for high-fashion designer stores and a very costly Bellini at Harry's Bar. Academia Bridge leads to the city's tranquil South Island. Grand Canal, St. Mark's Square. The 3.8-kilometer-long Grand Canal forms AS between Venice's two islands. The Grand Canal connects Santa Lucia railway station and Piazza Roma with St. Mark's Square and the open ocean. Nearly everyone comes in Venice from mainland Italy via the causeway and the adjacent bus or train terminal. You can walk or take a water bus to Mark's Square. St. Mark's Square. It was formerly a tiny square with trees and open area. Moreover, it was built in front of the ancient St. Mark's Basilica, a little chapel in the Doge's palace. The Piazza quickly became a Venetian gathering spot and was paved in 1267. The management hired Andrea Tirali, a famous Venetian architect, to rebuild the area as its popularity grew. In 1735, bricks were replaced with natural stone and put in an ordered fashion with indicated spots for merchants. St. Mark's, the city's largest square, houses government buildings and other services. St. Mark's Basilica. The basilica is the piazza's centerpiece. The church is named for St. Mark's body. A couple of Venetian merchants stole the saint's body from Alexandria in 829, and the church was built soon after. Doge Domenico Contarini commissioned the current basilica in the 11th century. It was the third shrine to St. Mark built at the site. The basilica is shaped like a Greek cross with domes atop each arm and the crossing point. The church's interior is like a jewel box, with golden mosaics covering its walls. Mosaics encompass 40,000 square feet of wall space, each illustrating a religious event or biblical story. Statues of the horses of San Marco appear to leap from the basilica over St. Mark's Square. These show the power of the Venetian Republic, having been captured in conflicts. The horses' provenance is unknown, however they may have been manufactured in ancient Greece around 400 BC. The horses were seized from Constantinople in 1204 and lived in Venice for 500 years before Napoleon took them. Wellington returned them after defeating Napoleon at Waterloo. Due to weather and pollution damage, the original horses were taken inside and reproductions were placed in front. Seeing the original horses of San Marco will help you comprehend their appeal to conquering monarchs and armies. The campanile was built by Doge Pietro Tribuno in the early 16th century. Sadly, the tower collapsed in 1902, but it was rebuilt precisely as it had been. One of the city's tallest landmarks at 98.6 meters. In St. Mark's Square, listen to the bells of San Marco. Their lovely ringing echoes off the buildings around the area, making you feel a part of Venice's history. Doge Palace. If you adore Venice's architecture, you must see the Doge's Palace. This sumptuous palace was home to the elected ruler of Venice during the medieval and Renaissance periods. It's a symbol of Venice's richness and strength. The attractively built building has white and pink bricks that form a lattice-like pattern on the outside walls. This great gateway, designed by Giovanni and Bartolomeo Bon, features spires and statues, including the winged lion, the symbol of Venice and St. Mark. The largest oil painting in the world, the Paradise by Tintoretto, is in the palace. On the south side of Piazza San Marco stands the National Archaeological Museum of Venice. It was founded by Cardinal Domenico Grimani in the 16th century. It was first at St. Mark's Library, then moved to the Doge's Palace in 1812 and to its current home in 1912. The museum has Greek sculptures, Roman portraits, and ancient artifacts dating back to 1 BC. Visitors will marvel at the vases, portraits of emperors, and magnificent jewelry and learn about the ancient Italians. Venice's St. Mark's Square, 10 facts. 1. The drawing room of Europe. St. Mark's Square in Venice is one of the world's most beautiful. Because of its beauty, Napoleon called it the drawing room of Europe. That's when he finished the square. Napoleon liked the square because it was lovely and a location to appreciate the vista. Know of the season, the square is lovely. The square shows the city's culture and building history. 2. Venice's St. Mark's Square has gorgeous architecture. St. Mark's Square is near Venice's biggest attractions and surrounded by gorgeous architecture. These houses encircling the square may have prompted Napoleon's remark that it was a drawing room. The Basilica San Marco, the Bell Tower, and Doge's Palace, the city's administrative center, are notable attractions. Café Florian is one of the cafes and shops on the square. It served alcohol in this square since 1720. The adjacent Procuratia buildings are government offices and homes. The Doge's Palace Gothic arcades date to the 14th century. The church was added in 1424. The square floods easily. St. Mark's Square is above sea level and can flood. It's so common that the city has adapted to it. Flooding is called acqua alta, or high water. It happens when there's a high tide or Adriatic breeze. Temporary pathways are often set up in the square to assist movement. At high tide, the square fills with water from the Grand Canal. Winter sirens are used to warn residents of floods. 4. The square was paved in 1200. Piazza was paved in the 12th century. Bricks were laid herringbone. They used colored stones along the piazza's axis. The lines were utilized for market stalls and ceremonial processions. In late Middle Ages and Renaissance art, the original pavement design is discernible. 1723 saw a redesign of the pavement into a complicated geometric pattern. Tirali was the architect. The patterned pavement may have been inspired by popular Oriental rugs, say some. Piazza level was raised by 1 meter to reduce flooding. Internal drains had more room to convey water to the Grand Canal. The horses in the square are from the 8th century. First erected on the balcony above the main entrance in 1254. 8th century horses said to have topped the Roman Arch of Trajan. It showed a 4-horse chariot racing. They later appeared on the Istanbul Hippodrome. After the Venetians captured the city in 1204, they were removed. Enrico Dandolo sent the horse sculptures to Venice after sacking Constantinople. Napoleon stole them in 1797 when he captured Venice. The horses were returned to Venice in 1815. They have been at the basilicas since. These are replicas of those inside the basilica. Doge Chapel was burned. First church in St. Mark's Square was Doge Chapel. It began south of the present chapel. In 836 AD, the chapel was far enough along for the relics to be relocated. The church was based on Constantinople's Church of the 12 Apostles. These two covered the same area as the church's center. First created by Doge Pietro Tribuno between 888 and 891 AD. The church was burned in 976 during a Doge uprising. The roof and dome were damaged, but the church was not demolished. The church was renovated in 1063 and rebuilt in 1096. 7. The square has hosted past events. St. Mark's Square is a Venetian landmark. 1177 saw its size and shape change. The larger space gave it a crucial site for the Venetian administration. This square dates from the 19th century. In the square are two columns representing Venice, the St. Mark's Lion and St. Theodore Monument. In the past, public assemblies were held in the square. Now it's full of birds and tourists from throughout the world. St. Mark's Bell Tower was reconstructed after collapsing. The Campanile, or Bell Tower, stands alone in Piazza San Marco. Built in 1156. Collapsed in 1902, restored in 1912. Rebuilding the current building with old materials. An elevator gives access to the tower's magnificent city and beyond views. Live music is played daily in the square. At night, a full orchestra plays in the piazza while dressed formally. The conductor stands a few steps away so tourists can enjoy the music. A crowd always listens to music while birds fly. The sound makes the square more lively. 10. Café Florian is the oldest in the square. The oldest cafe in the square in Europe is Café Florian. It opened in 1720 as Alla Venezia Trionfanti, or Triumphant Venice. The cafe was renamed by its owner. Past customers include Casanova, Lord Byron, and Charles Dickens. It has been redecorated in a grandiose way and is a great spot to visit. This is all for now. Check out other videos on our channel. Enjoy.